Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials, and I have 4 examples for you today. The first example here says express as a trinomial. So how do we know this is a multiplying question? Well, remember multiplying, there's 3 ways you can indicate multiplying. There's probably more, but the 3 I'm thinking of are an X for a times sign, or a dot, or just like this question, there's nothing between. When you have parentheses and there's nothing between them, that means multiplying. So they want us to multiply these 2 symbols here. So we're going to use box method to set this up. So x minus 9 is a binomial. There's 2 terms, right? X and minus 9. So I made a box with 2 columns. And then 3x plus 6 also has 2 terms, so I made my box have 2 rows. Now, it doesn't matter which, whether the top one is the first one or the side one is the first one. It doesn't matter as long as you put one on top completely and one on the side completely. And now we're going to multiply. Every single one of these boxes is going to be filled in with the multiplication of each term. So 3x times x is 3x squared. And 3x times negative 9 is negative 27x. This box right here is 6 times x, which is 6x. And lastly, negative 9 times 6 is negative 54. So when you use box method, it's a nice way to organize your multiplication problem to make sure that every term inside one parentheses multiplies by every term in the other parentheses. And now that we're done multiplying, now we have to combine like terms, because sometimes inside these boxes you're going to have things that are like that should be simplified. If I were to write all 4 of these out, there would be 4 terms, but this specifically says write it as a trinomial. So I know that 2 of these will be combined. The 3x squared has no other x squareds to be combined with. I see the 6x and the negative 27x, those can be combined. So 6x minus 27x, 27 minus 6 is 21. So it'd be minus 21x. And then the minus 54 just gets brought along. So the answer to this is 3x squared minus 21x minus 54. And that's a trinomial. A trinomial means it has 3 terms. Next question, express this 5/3 x plus 4 in parentheses squared as a trinomial in simplest form. So this is actually the same kind of question. It looks a little different because I only see 1 term, right? So a lot of students will look at this and say, oh, what if I just square that and square that and then I'm done? That's not what this question is asking. This question wants us to multiply this by itself. And when you do that, you'll notice that, hey, we actually need to set up a box method for this question. We need to do a 2x2 box for this question. And in this case, both the top and the side are going to be the same thing because it's multiplying by itself. So there we go. 5/3 x plus 4 times 5/3 x plus 4. I don't need to write the pluses here, but I'm going to just because. All right, let's multiply. I'm going to start with the easiest one. 4 times 4 is 16. 5/3 x times 4. Now 4 is actually 4 over 1. And 5/3, when you multiply fractions, you just multiply the tops times the tops and the bottoms times the bottoms. So 5 times 4 is 20, and 3 times 1 is 3, so this will be 20/3 x. This will also be 20 over 3x because it's the same multiplication problem, 5/3 x times 4. And then this one, 5/3 times 5/3 would be 25 over 9, and x times x is x squared. And now let's combine like terms. 25 over 9x squared doesn't have any like terms. There's no other x squareds in this problem. There are two terms with x's here, so when we combine like terms, we add the numbers out front. And 20 over 3 plus 20 over 3, remember when you add fractions, they need common denominators, and then you just add the numerators. You don't change the denominators. So this will be 40 over 3x. And then the plus 16 just gets brought along because it doesn't have any like terms. So the answer to this question is 25 over 9x squared plus 40 over 3x plus 16. Next question. Write the following expression as a simplified polynomial in standard form. So this one's going to have some multiplying, but it's also going to have some adding and subtracting, some combining like terms. Let's do this question first. We know this is a box method question because I need to multiply it by itself. I need to multiply x plus 2 times x plus 2. That'll be x squared. That'll be 2x. That'll be 2x. That'll be 4. So I know this works out to be x squared plus 4x plus 4. The second multiplication here is this negative 4, and it needs to multiply by everything inside that parentheses. So I'm going to distribute. I could set up a box method, but I don't need to do that when there's just one thing out front, right? So I'm going to set it up so it's just going to distribute, right? I don't need to do box method if I'm just multiplying one thing by multiple things. So we're going to end up with negative 4 times x and negative 4 times 2. So negative 4 times x is negative 4x, and negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. The 7 doesn't have anything to do with multiplying here. It's just going to drag itself along. And now that we just have one big sentence of math here, let's combine like terms. There's no other x squareds in this question, so it's just going to be x squared. This 4x and this negative 4x will cancel, right? They're opposites. When you add opposites, they just make 0. So I don't need to write any x's. It's just 4x minus 4x, which is nothing. And then we just have to combine the 4, the minus 8, and the plus 7. So 4 minus 8 would be negative 4, and then negative 4 plus 7 would be plus 3. So the answer to this question is x squared plus 3. Standard form means that when you're done, make sure you sort all of your exponents from highest to lowest. I only have one exponent. It's a 2. If we had multiple x's in this problem, we want to make sure that we have an x squared and then a regular x and then no x. Standard form basically means to sort the exponents from high to low. And then our last question says, expand the expression to a polynomial in standard form. This is another multiplying question. This one is a 2. It's a binomial times a trinomial. So when I set this one up, my box method needs to be a little bigger. It needs to be a 2 by 3 because we have two things, x plus 3, multiplying by three things, which is 2x squared and 6x and 1. Let's fill in all the boxes. 2x squared times x would be 2x to the third. 6x times x is 6x squared. 1 times x is 1x. 2x squared times 3, 6x squared. 6x times 3 is 18x. And 1 times 3 is 3. Now, just like last time, let's look for some like terms. Hey, it looks like these 6x squareds are like terms, right? I'm actually going to circle them. And it looks like this 18x and this 1x are also like terms. Seems like when you do box method, a lot of times the like terms are diagonal from one another. There are no x to the third, so I'm going to start with that one. Remember, in standard form, I want to do variables with their highest exponent down to their lowest exponent. So we'll start with the exponent with 3, and then we'll deal with the exponent of 2. 6x plus 6x is 12x. And then it was squared. So 6x squared plus 6x squared is 12x squared. Now let's do the plain old x's. 18x plus 1x is 19x. And then the 3 just kind of tacks itself along. That's in standard form, and it says it needs to be a polynomial. Polynomial just means it has many terms. So the answer to this question is 2x to the third plus 12x squared plus